I bet your band doesn't have a band agreement. Now I hear you out there on the webs, on the internets, on the AOLs saying, Pat, what the hell's a band agreement and why should I have one? Well, today I'm going to tell you exactly what it is, why it's so important, and also suggestions as to what you should include in your band agreement. Let's do this. Hey everybody, it's Pat and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, I make all kinds of videos around creating music, so if that's something you're into, go ahead and click the subscribe button. Once you've done that, why don't you go ahead and click that bell to get notified every single time I upload. So first things first, what is a band agreement? Well, if you're serious about being in a band, and what I mean by that is that like you have original songs, you play them live, maybe you recorded them, you have some merch, you make some money, you spend some money, like you're in a serious band. I think you really need a band agreement. But what is it? Essentially, a band agreement is a contract between all the band members. Think about it as if it were your band's constitution, for example. You can change it, you can amend it, or whatever, but you all sign it, you all agree to it, and that's kind of the law of the land when it comes to your band. Wow, the law of the land when it comes to your band. What that does is that it protects all the members from any kind of scenario that could happen, both likely and unlikely. My dog's here, by the way. All right. With the examples I'm about to give you as to what you should include in your band agreement, it'll all make sense. You'll really understand at that point why it's so important and why you need to write one. So what I think the first line should be in your band agreement is your band's name. Let me explain. So before that, you should probably write the names of your band members, and then you should probably write something like, we are called, I don't know, the Pigeons, and Patrick came up with the name. And then you should figure out between you who owns the band name, or if you break up, who gets to use it, if anybody, and just, start that conversation about the band name. It's sort of your trademark. You should figure out what happens if somebody quits, if somebody leaves, if the band dissolves, or something like that. Another really important thing to include in your band agreement would be song ownership. If you're in a band where only one guy writes all the songs, then maybe he owns all of the songs. But if you're in a jam band that sort of writes all the songs together, then maybe you need to split all the songs and sort of figure out who owns what, or who owns kind of what percentage of the songs. To be honest though, copyrights and song percentage splits and all that stuff, that's a subject for a whole other video. But in the meantime, I'm pretty sure you can figure it out between you guys, write it down, put it in your band agreement. There we go, you're covered. Okay, so another important suggestion would be what happens when somebody leaves the band, either because they were fired or because they quit. Now, that's kind of a bummer subject to talk about with your bandmates, but it's kind of a conversation you need to have. You're better off having it when you're all in good terms, when you all agree to the same thing. For example, if you don't have a band agreement and one of the band members who happened to be in the room when the songs were written then leaves the band, there's nothing stopping that person from starting a whole new band, maybe with the same name and play the same songs. And on the flip side, if that guy owns some of the songs or part of the songs you guys played as a band before he left, there's nothing stopping him from you playing those songs. But I'm by no means a legal expert, and this is not to be taken as legal advice, and chances are things would probably not go down the way I just described, but in any case, a band agreement is an insurance that shit situations like that never happen. So at this point, I'm sure you understand what I mean by a band agreement, and I'm sure you get why I think it's so important. Like I said before, it's an insurance policy between you guys when things are good, when you're in good terms. You think of all the scenarios, likely, unlikely, and anything in between. You write that down, and that could possibly save your ass if ever shit goes down and the band breaks up, you're all at war. This document will really save you at that point because you all agreed to it. But before we finish, I'm going to give you 4 more quick things I think you should include in your band agreement. And from that point, you should probably do your own research or have the discussion between you guys. You can come up with anything you can think of and write your own. All right, number 1. How are the decisions made in your band? There's so many decisions that are made when you're in a band. Just think about it, like deciding on a jam spot, if you want to hire or fire a new band member, if you want to buy merch, or who gives what kind of money and whatever. There are a lot of decisions, and I think you need to figure out sort of a voting system or how decisions are made. It doesn't matter if it's unanimous or a majority vote or like one guy decides everything. One day there's going to be a time where you need to make this one big decision. At least you'll be set, you'll know how you vote on those decisions by including that in your band agreement. Another important thing to include in your band agreement would be who handles the money. If you have to pay rent or you want to buy merch, if you want to buy CDs or vinyls or cassettes, whatever it is, you should dedicate 1, maybe 2 people who are responsible for handling the money. After a show, when you made a bunch of money selling merch and CDs or whatnot, you should have one person who, it's known that that guy has the little thing the register full of cash, right? Dedicate 1-2 people who are responsible for handling them bucks. Somewhat related to that would be to dedicate one person who is financially responsible to bear the load of your band. Who knows, at some point maybe you're going to want to buy a truck or more expensive equipment, and chances are that's going to be on a loan, and that loan needs to be under somebody's name. To be honest though, when you're at that level, you're probably just better off turning your band into a legitimate registered business. That's what we did back in the day, but I think that's another subject for a future video. So my last suggestion again has to do with money, but it's a really important thing to consider when you're in a band. At some point, money's going to start coming in, and you need to decide what you're going to do with that money. Based on my experience, I think the best thing would be to reinvest that money into the business. So whatever money you make from CD sales, merch sales, streaming sales, who am I kidding, right? But all that money that you're making elsewhere, I think you should put into a bank account and sit on it. Then when the time comes, when the time is right, you should reinvest it into more or better merch, a better producer, better equipment, truck repairs, anything like that. And you should always keep a small amount in a bank account for that rainy day when you're in between two cities and your truck just decides to give in and it's had enough, you're stalled. There you go. You've got that little safety net to take care of that problem. Of course, if you're in a super successful corporate cover band and you guys make a ton of money, yes, get paid. But what I'm referring to here is the rest of us who already have a job, already have an income stream, and then make some money on the side sometimes with our band. Whatever money you make with that band, keep it, reinvest it, and put it back in your band. And by the way, put all of that in your band agreement. All right, so that's pretty much all the advice I have about writing a band agreement before it gets redundant. At this point, if you don't get it or you still just don't want to do it, well, maybe you're not that serious about being in a band. But one day, that band member who you thought was your best friend is gonna leave the band, steal all of your songs, take the band name you came up with, and go on to become a rock star, and there's nothing you can do about it. Then you're gonna think back to this video and tell yourself, man, I wish I had listened to this Pat Flanigan guy who told me to write a band agreement when we were in good terms. And I also should have subscribed to his channel, because boy are his videos awesome, educational, and informative. Indeed they are. You're welcome. Next band practice, talk to your band members about writing a band agreement. All right, that's it for me, guys. If you've enjoyed this video, go ahead and click the like button on your way out. I'm officially on vacation now for 3 weeks, but I'm still gonna try and make some videos, so you can go ahead and subscribe, click that bell if you haven't done that already. If you wanna follow me on Instagram or Twitter or contact me, all my social links are down below. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.